Tuesday morning then, we're coming up to 8 minutes past 7 o'clock. In just a year, Somerset has witnessed a big increase in the number of people seeking help for eating disorders. Nearly 60% more, and some of them as young as just 8 years old. That's according to Somerset and Wessex Eating Disorder Association. Paula Blight is the woman in charge there.
We have had people, contacting us, especially mums of children of a younger age. 1 week, I think we had a 10-year-old, 11-year-old and an 8-year-old parents contacting us. Unfortunately, there isn't a parity with physical and mental health. I'll give you an example. If somebody was to break an arm tomorrow and they go to the minor injuries unit, they wouldn't strap it up and say, come back next week when it gets worse. Sometimes people are presenting themselves either at the GP or at mental health units, and they're told that they don't hit the threshold, which in a way is where we come in.
Paula estimates around 35,000 people across our county are living with some kind of eating disorder. But Somerset Health Partnership NHS Trust says they've only seen a slight increase in the number of referrals. With me now is a Bristol-based campaigner, Hope Virgo, who nearly died from her anorexia. Good morning to you, Hope.
Hiya.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Can you just try, if you can, and explain what life is like living with anorexia?
It's like having this constant battle going on in your head, whether you should eat something, whether you shouldn't eat something, whether you should be exercising a bit more, and then trying to manage actually when you are in recovery, accepting that you can eat a bit more one day, you can start to enjoy food, and that relentless anorexic voice slowly quietens, but at the same time it still beats you up, gets you thinking at the end of the day how many calories you've had, whether you've done enough exercise. And occasionally when you're out at dinner, it makes you count calories of everything. And it's tiring. It's emotionally exhausting just trying to battle every single day with that voice, because you know that what it's telling you is wrong. But then sometimes when life feels really difficult, it feels like the easy solution just to listen to it and let it make you feel better, even if it is only temporary.
The voice quietens. Does it ever go away?
So for some people, I think it does. For me, I think I manage my recovery. I have weeks now where I don't even think about it. And then the occasional bad day where that anorexic voice will just be nagging me, telling me that I've had too much. I recently cycled across the UK, and actually coming back from that, and that anorexic voice has been nagging me a little bit more than normal, telling me that I should be exercising more, that I shouldn't be eating as much because I'm not doing as much cycling. And now I'm in a place where I can completely shut it down. But actually for some people, they have to learn that actually they're going to live with that for the rest of their life.
And that is a scary prospect, I'm sure. Are you surprised then to hear around 60% more people in this county are getting help for eating disorders? And I mean, this is just within the last 12 months, this increase.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. And actually, it's really upsetting when you hear the figures of really young people also struggling, who've kind of like lost their childhood to this mental health problem. I think I'm not shocked at the numbers increasing. I think there's a lot more pressure on people nowadays. And I think one of the issues is that we don't have those kind of coping mechanisms in place. We're not taught about resilience. And it's just people's coping mechanisms to stop eating. And then they get stuck in this vicious cycle.
Do you think their numbers could have gone up because we're being encouraged to speak out more, to seek help, and maybe it could be encouraging? The numbers are scary, but people are saying, I need help.
Potentially, yes. I think there is a lot more awareness going on, which is encouraging people to speak out. But I think the biggest problem with eating disorders is that actually, yes, there are people reaching out for support, but they're not getting that help, which means they're going to get even worse. I know just through the work that I'm doing at the moment and with my Dump the Scales campaign, actually, I've got a lot more people getting in touch with me telling me that they're struggling, but yet they go to services and admit they're struggling, but there's no support available for them.
Just explain that a bit more. Go through that concern of the lack of support. In what way?
So quite often, although the guidelines for the NHS say that people should not be judged on their BMI, so their weight, actually when people go and reach out for support and say, I'm really struggling, I'm getting all these thoughts in my head, or I'm making myself sick after meals, kind of all of the various eating disorders, quite often clinicians or the GPs will say to them, how much do you weigh? and then they'll say you're not underweight enough to actually be able to access any support. And this is something that personally happened to me as well. And when you get turned away from services, when you're so desperate for help, it is completely like just damaging to that voice in your head. You feel like this fake person, you feel like you're not worthy of support, and you also feel like you have to kind of prove a point to actually make yourself even more unwell so that you can access that support.
So it's about prevention, isn't it? What can you do then? What are you trying to do to change that?
So I'm campaigning about it at the moment. So working with Wera Hobhouse, the MP in Bath, to try and get an early days motion through. And then also just getting people to back this petition, getting people to try and share their stories with me, which I have hundreds of people, thousands of people who already have. But we still need more of it. And I think part of it is yes, people are talking about mental health now, and we talk about how we feel a lot more. We admit we're struggling, but we don't go any further than that. And people don't talk about actually what it's like every single day to live with that voice in your head. They don't talk about the fact that there is very little support available, and there just needs to be a bit more kind of concrete action put in place and a real focus put on prevention and not crisis.
Hope, thank you so much for being with Breakfast this morning. It's been great to talk to you and hear your experience as well. Obviously, if you're listening and there's anything you would like to share, 81333, you can text in, be anonymous if you want. Just start your message with the word Somerset. That's Hope Virgo, who's a Bristol-based campaigner now, nearly died from her anorexia and is campaigning for help, for better help, for help. Coming up just after 8, I'm going to be talking to a Sweda representative, the Somerset and Wessex Eating Disorder Association, the figures that we are seeing now in Somerset, why we think that is happening, what they are doing to try and help.